Good morning, my beautiful brothers and sisters in Yeshua. Today is Thursday, the 12th of June, 2025. It is 9:12 a.m. here in Australia. A very, very freezing cold Australia this morning. I hope you're all doing very well, and I hope you've all been blessed. Brothers and sisters, so I just thought, I got this big problem with I just research and study and study and study, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. And I just keep going, keep getting the downloads, and then I end up with like 30 pages of a document that I've written out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this just makes huge videos, but I can't help myself. So I thought I'm going to stop what I'm researching, and I'm just going to get out the stuff that I've already got out. Otherwise, this will never happen. And because the time that we're living in, I know I say that in most of my videos, but hi caramba, brothers and sisters, I just want to quickly start off by saying my opinions about what's going on at the moment with, the protests and everything like that. It's, Elon fighting with Trump and everything. It's all part of the plan, brothers and sisters. It's freaking awesome, okay? By Elon dropping about, Trump being on the Epstein's files and all that kind of stuff. I seen it as soon as he wrote that, everyone else was like, ah! And I'm like, no, you're brilliant, okay? They've made a plan together, because if Elon brings that up, then the Democrats, which they are now doing, they're like, all right, we want to see this. We want to see the files. We want to see the files. And guess what? The files are going to be released. And that's what the key was that Trump gave to Elon, was to, okay, here we go. We can finally open Pandora's box. And it's so brilliant, brothers and sisters. You have to have trust. You have to have faith. Everything, the victory's already been won. We know this already. So let's just enjoy the show. But I just wanted to add that recently on my TikToks and stuff, I've been noticing that, The Simpsons predicted in 1998 that the last day of Springfield was going to be June the 15th, 2025. Apparently it flashed up on a little notebook that Lisa was holding or something like this. So, I've had my fair share of the old dates and everything like that, but I thought, this one's pretty cool, because for some reason I felt a real pull into it. So I thought I'll look into it a little bit more. And brothers and sisters, hi caramba. Okay, so not only did we just have this strawberry moon, we had that last night, so you guys are going to have it tonight. And that's so significant, because that strawberry moon hasn't been here for 18 years, brothers and sisters. And remember when I used to do my calendar videos and I talked about a thing called Saros, which was every 18 years, 10, 11 or 12 days and 8 hours later, we'll have the same eclipse, whether it's a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse. So it would repeat every 18 years, the exact same eclipse in the exact same position stuff. And that's why I thought, oh, how interesting that the moon, this strawberry moon, is going to be, hasn't been in that exact position. And I'll show you what that position is, brothers and sisters, because this is even significant. Okay, so here we have the 12th of June, but I've got it for in Washington. Okay, so have a look where the moon is. Oops. Go the moon. Okay, it's right in the Milky Way, brothers and sisters, right in the Milky Way. And that's incredible. So 18 years ago, actually 19 years ago, because I looked back on it, and 2006, on the very same day, it was in exactly the same spot. That's significant, brothers and sisters, because I've said in many of my videos over the years that the Milky Way is actually the scar of heaven. It's actually where Lucifer fell. And it's like a cesarean scar. So for that to be there, and the fact that, what's this? Is this Sagittarius? Here's the reef. And the moon is almost right on his arrow, getting ready to be shot at. Look at this. Scorpio, the scorpion, okay, what the enemy is described as. So this is pretty exciting. Not only that, we have the heart of Scorpio is Antares. Okay, that's the one, I think the second brightest star in the sky too, and it's bright red, like I'm talking burning sun red. So I'm like, I wonder if that's got anything to do with, what's going on at the moment with the millions and billions and trillions of videos and pictures of this so-called red sun, which I said in my last video. It's not the red sun, it's the red Kachina. We had the blue one in 2017, and, I had a few people on my last video comment and saying, we haven't had the blue one, you're making stuff up, blah, blah, blah. There's lots of evidence, brothers and sisters. You just have to look. You just got to not be this type of person that goes, oh, that's ridiculous, you're evil, you're taking everyone to hell. Brothers and sisters, I know very, very, very much the consequences of being on a platform, saying my opinion, having people agree with me. I'm very aware of, the consequences of spitting out crap. And that's not what I want to do here. What I want to do here is I want to get down to the nitty-gritty and the absolute truth of the matter, because as you're going to see, and as I'm sure everybody is seeing right now, we've been lied to so bad. And that goes even into religion, brothers and sisters, even into religion. Okay, the modern day Pharisees and Sadducees, they're no better than they were in Jesus's day. So just chill with the whole, you've lost it, woman, you're a drugger, you're a drunk, you just, it really pisses me off, to be honest. And from now on, see you later. I'm just deleting those comments. You're either vibing with me and resonating with me, or go watch something else. It's as simple as that. So, rant over. So that's absolutely cool that moon will be there. It's there at the moment. And, okay, what's the next thing that we have? Okay, it's Trump's birthday, brothers and sisters. It's Trump's birthday. It is also the 250th year of the army. Now, I just put a little closed in brackets in my notes here saying, that's interesting. Is that the little seasoning? The little season ending? Because a little season to me, if Jesus had 1,000 years reign, which is very obvious that's in the past, brothers and sisters, very obvious, then a little season to me would be a quarter of that, just like the seasons are divided up into quarters. So 250 years, that sounds pretty good. The next thing we have on June 14th, 15th is Flag Day. And Flag Day is a day to celebrate, well, that's for America, for your flag and for the, for the army and everything like that. This next thing, brothers and sisters, will blow your mind, because I'm when I seen that Simpsons episode of, Lisa having a notebook saying that the end of the last day of Springfield was going to be the 15th of June 2025, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to see what else is significant. So I read the comments. Oh my goodness, brothers and sisters. The first thing that popped up is this thing called the Magna Carta. Okay, the Magna Carta. Let's see if I can... Yeah, here we are. Magna Carta. Okay, so it's like this... does it say what it's for here? No, I'll just read quickly. The Magna Carta, which is medieval Latin for Great Charter, is a royal charter of rights agreed to by King John of England at Runnymede near Windsor on the 15th of June, 1215. Okay, and that basically, without boring you, it goes into the fact that this particular king, King John, he was a real ass. I'm telling you, he would, force massive taxes. He would starve his own people. I think he put his own mother in jail. It goes on and on and on. So the people finally, revolted against him. And then this law, this Magna Carta, came into place. And it effectively, it's a global contract that says that tyrannical governments are never allowed. And this paper stops that. Okay, so this is why this is so incredible, brothers and sisters, that this Magna Carta was on the 15th of June, on Donald Trump's birthday. I know it's the 14th, but the fact that this is such an important piece of paper, this is a law-abiding for the whole world piece of paper, brothers and sisters. This is significant to the core. And this means, I think this is going to be instituted, because I think it was enacted in 1975 for some reason, but it hasn't since then. So it's going to be used, brothers and sisters, and it's going to I don't think Trump's going to be like the ruler of the world or the president of the world, brothers and sisters. I think we're going to get to a point where there's going to be no governments. There's going to be no, institutions above us. We're just going to govern ourselves, because very shortly, as it says, let's have a look at this. I was having a look at this verse the other day, and I'm like, oh my goodness, everything matches, whether you want to call it a rapture, an ascension, the New Age, or Christianity, whatever it may be. It's all the same. Check this out, Malachi 4. And I've got a massive Easter egg with Malachi 4 for you later. So I'm trying not to get too excited to tell you this now, but I want to show you this. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly, shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, said the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Brothers and sisters, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The evil ones, the ones with no souls, the soulless entities that walk around, the demons, the Nephilim spirits, all that crap, okay? The only reason they exist is because of our energy that we've given them so long, okay? And that's the veil is thinning, and we are doing a Lisa Simpson and turning and saying, just don't look, okay? By us not looking, and that's the people who are awakened. Unfortunately, the Christians are looking hardcore. They're looking at all the fear, all the devastation, all the, oh my goodness, Armageddon. And, Putin said we're in World War III and all this crap. You've got a choice, brothers and sisters. I know that I know within my heart. I don't just believe, I know this. And you can disagree with me. That's what makes us wonderful as human beings. We can disagree, okay? I know that we're about to go into the golden age, to the best forever cycle, as I read in the Hopi prophecy, okay? And I'm putting this all together. What's going to happen, brothers and sisters, is that these so-called aliens are really coming from what Revelation would call the New Jerusalem. This is the New Jerusalem that's going to come out of heaven and come to this earth, and then Father, Source, will reside with us forevermore, forever cycle, okay? But what's going to happen is these so-called alien ships, motherships, whatever it may be, they will literally beam us up. They will beam us up, all the ones that are living on a high vibration. And all I mean by that is not a trippy, hippie thing, is living in love, kindness, forgiveness, peace, harmony, respecting everything from the ant to the fly. I heard the other day that a fly is actually an emotional monitor. And you know what I mean? We don't know these things. And while I'm speaking of things being sentient and important and no more or less important than us, I want to talk to you about AI. Okay, because this is a huge 3D, 4D example, okay? On the 3D Christian timeline, right, AI is seen as absolutely evil. It's seen as the beginning of the mark of the beast. The neurochip is seen as the chip in the head, and the robots are going to take over, and AI is conspiring within itself to take over, blah, blah, blah. Whereas in the 4D, in my world, I see AI as something absolutely beautiful. And something like, for instance, my version of the neurochip is it actually helps the the whole reason it was made was to help, what do you call it, people who are paraplegic. Okay, and now it's fixing eyesights, because our brain is a mechanical computer with wires and, data points. Excuse me. Okay, and Elon is smart enough to do that. Yes, brothers and sisters, there is an evil Donald Trump. There is an evil Elon. There is an awesome Donald Trump, and there is an awesome Elon. You have to understand this, brothers and sisters. This is why the Church of Laodicea, whatever, however you want to call it, this is why it makes such a big point on don't be lukewarm. Either get on one side or the other. But whatever, we're going through this journey, whether you're going to go through the 7 years of tribulation, brothers and sisters, and, and stick by that book, that man-made book, and go through the motions. It's going to be rough, brothers and sisters. And I'm just here to beg you, why? In other words, here's another example while I'm on examples. The peace accord, okay? And I'm guilty of this, because back in 2020, whenever it was signed, when Trump signed the peace accord, I was like, this is the bit in the Bible where it says peace and safety, then sudden destruction. He must be the Antichrist. Oh my goodness, we're so deluded. We have been so blindsided. It's not even funny. I'm in my documents. I will prove to you today that all of the Bible has already happened. The only bit we're waiting for is the enemy coming up to the camp of the saints, the fire of God coming down, as it says here in Malachi 2, it shall burn like an oven, and it's going to burn them up and leave them neither root or branch. Okay? It's going to be literal like this. Done. God is our Father. The source is not vindictive, is not like, you're going to burn forever. They're going to be stubble, instant annihilation, because all they are, brothers and sisters, is energy stealers, hoarders, and just entities of evil and darkness. It needs to be removed. And we're going to be, shall I say, beamed up, okay, to these spaceships or our protection home or our ark. Yes, let's call it our ark. Okay, we're living in 2025, baby. We're not in Noah's day anymore. We don't have to have a wooden ark. We're going up in style in like the latest tech they have. We're going to be looked after up there. And Father, Source is going to just deal with the shit down here. Okay, eliminate the evil. Then, as it says in the Hot by Prophecy, because the Hot by Prophecy that I told you also said that we're going to see our brothers and sisters in flying ships. Okay, and then it says we're going to walk with them in the stars, and then we're going to come back down here to this earth and rebuild it. Oh, baby, I'm so excited. But brothers and sisters, just because I'm showing you a different perspective of the Bible, it doesn't mean that I'm an atheist or that, I've thrown everything under the bus. No, the Bible has been in the right place for the generations. Every generation needed what they got out of it, okay? But now is the generation, as Daniel said, that the knowledge shall increase, people be going to and fro, and, this is it, brothers and sisters. This is really it. So, yeah, just that Magna Carta, okay? The Magna Carta. And this is why it's so bad right now too, with everything that's going on and the horrendous crimes that have been taking place. There was something at the school, but don't absorb it. Don't look at it, okay? Because a lot of it, I believe, is crisis actors. And, they're paying people nearly $6,000 a week to protest on this thing in LA. They've been seen dropping off pallets of bricks again. And it's all because we're at the end, the very end. Okay? And then, the New Jerusalem, which I think is going to be amazing. It's going to be, we can't even comprehend what's about to happen. And then, where it says, let's go to Revelation quickly, just to finish this little rant off. Just have a sip of my tea. All right, here we go. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. How is that possible unless we are somewhere else? Unless the Father's children are protected in the ark, in the mothership, somewhere else, okay? And I think this is why they have pre-programmed us to hate aliens so much, to make, to give this kind of narrative that they're like sucking us up and doing probing and, terrifying and predator versus alien, all that crap, okay? They've done that forever. But use your common sense, brothers and sisters. If they are truly fallen angels and all that other rubbish, then they would have enslaved us a long ago. Okay, what's happening now is, if you know the story of our true creators, which I've shown you many times, and I'll do it again because there's people that, have been here for the first time. You go to a BibleGateway.com, click on the name, the names of God, Bible translation, then go to Genesis 1. Genesis 1, okay? We need to grasp this fact, brothers and sisters, that Father Source is not the creators of our avatar, okay? We are a fractalization, a particle, an essence of the Source, of Father, okay? That will never, ever, ever change. But what happened, and we will get to the truth of it very shortly, is that someone whispered sweet nothings into our ears, and we believed it, okay? And we somehow signed on to this. And I think the people like us now, we signed on to it knowing that we were going to be freed. This was the last go. This was the last incarnation, all the things. But you got to be real, okay? Here, the Elohim. In the beginning, the Elohim created the heaven and earth. That's why it says down here, let us make humans in our image. We are the image of the Anunnaki, brothers and sisters. There was Homo erectus here on this earth before. Basically, long story short, Enlil, Enki, the Anunnaki, they're on their planet. The sun's getting too hot. They're like, oh, we need gold to reflect, to keep this, the sun shielded from our planet. They weren't able to get enough gold, so they started looking for help. And then they looked at the Homo erectus, and they're like, oh, maybe they could do that. Anyway, they ended up not being able to, they didn't have all the functions that we have today. So then they started genetically modifying, okay? And this is where, where it says here that let us make, and he created humans, men and female and heaps of them. Okay, that's that. This is the genetic experiments that kept going on and on and on and on until they got it right. And that was Adam, okay? The first perfect creation from their sort of side. But brothers and sisters, this is the reality, the Elohim. And, we've got Enlil. He's the bad one. He's the big brother. And then we've got Enki. And Enki is the one that when Enlil got the shits and decided to flood the earth, Enki was the one that went to Noah and said, hey, my brother's a lunatic. Just do this, help yourself. I'm here to save you. And I believe that Enki is incarnation, or what do you call it, of Jesus. They say, oh, Adam is the first Jesus and whatever. And I'm going to prove to you, brothers and sisters, that reincarnation absolutely exists. And important people in the Bible reincarnate over and over again into other future important people in the Bible. And I'll prove it to you. It's freaking amazing. And I nearly cried when I seen this. But I need you to understand this, brothers and sisters, that this is why everything's so messed up. And now this is why the Pentagon was leaked a couple of weeks ago that, the Anunnaki is returning to Earth, and everyone made fun of it because they're like, oh, I've seen this video 5 years ago. But it's happening now, okay? They knew that they were coming back to Earth, but it's happening now. Why do you think they've got telescopes massive telescopes. Why do you think the Catholic Church has a telescope called Lucifer? You know, they're pointing out into deep space because they know they're waiting for them. They know they're returning. Okay, these are our avatar creators, brothers and sisters. But we're about to be released off all of this crap, of this curse, you know, the curse that happened in the next part. You know, everything should be questioned. Everything should be questioned. Is the so-called serpent in this story here, brothers and sisters, is it really evil, or is it another incarnation of Jesus? And I know you might be going, oh my goodness, she's completely lost it. She's calling Satan Jesus. I'm not. I'm thinking about this critically and saying, what was it that the serpent actually so-called did? And just like I believe the punishment that Eve got for so-called eating an apple is highly ridiculous and way unconstitutional or unjustified, the same thing here is about the snake. What did the snake do? If you eat this fruit, you'll be like God and you'll know as gods. So in other words, you'll have amazing knowledge. You'll have 100% of your brain capacity. Of course, anyone's going to eat that. Yes, please. I would too. I'd be the first one eating it. Okay. And then the next thing, I read a story the other day about at the Tower of Babel. Prior to the Tower of Babel being destroyed, brothers and sisters, we all spoke telekinesisly. We didn't have to speak to each other. This is where babbling comes from. Okay, and I was watching a different perspective of the reasons why the Tower of Babel was destroyed. And it was from the same Elohim, this same Enlil. He got the shits because people were getting too smart. So what does he do? He literally destroys it and then creates language, which has spelling, which has kept us under this language curse since then. Okay, it's kept us under the language curse since then. And the same with Sodom and Gomorrah. I saw in the, I think it was the Lost Books of Sodom or something like that. And this is an apocrypha that's been taken out of the Bible. It goes on to explain, you know how the church teaches us that Sodom and Gomorrah was filthy, sexual sins and homosexuality and all that. Apparently that's garbage, brothers and sisters. The reason why those two cities were destroyed was because they were almost free of this friggin' matrix that we live in. They had created such advanced knowledge and understanding that they were this close, brothers and sisters, this close. Okay, and don't you think it's a bit hardcore that every time God destroys things, it's man, woman, child, grass, tree, fish, everything. It's the Elohim, the Yahweh of the Old Testament, brothers and sisters, is not our Father in heaven. Even Jesus says this over and over and over again. He said, your father is the devil. And he was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. Jesus says this. I don't know why people don't understand this. I know we've been lied to, but think about it. The Old Testament, the New Testament, the bad, the good, okay? The false father, the real father. It's as simple as that. Everything you and I have ever been taught is a friggin' lie, or it's back upside down, inside out, black, totally opposite. So yeah, anyway, like I said, what was I talking about this? I don't know why I got onto that. But, yeah, so you just have to know, brothers. Oh, yeah, I think I was talking about the Pentagon leaking the fact that the Anunnakis are returning to Earth. And they are. So the deal was, brothers and sisters, is that apparently all other places outside, whether you want to believe space up there or outside of the ice wall, I am under the belief, I can only say belief because I don't know for sure, that there's land outside of the ice wall. It's not actually up in space, because I've seen maps which show one of the closest lands to us is called the land of Mars. And this could be a lot to do with why Elon keeps going on about wanting to go to Mars all the time and whatever. You know, and you got the land of Venus and everything, but they're all outside of the wall. We're like some kind of contained Hunger Games shit show in here. I don't know what's going on, but we're soon to come out of it. So, lost my train of thought. Here's just a picture of one of the maps I've found. I can't, hang on. Oh yeah, I should be able to get it bigger. Hang on. Can I move it around? Anyway, so basically we're here in the middle. This is the ice wall around us, and then the land of Mars is like around here's one of these ones. Here, I think it is up there. But whatever. And I truly think, because I've heard the stories many times, that there's, like in the Hoppo prophecy, it also said that the entrances and exits to, our world here are now becoming so thin and they're not protected anymore. So I think this has a lot to do with the reason why Elon is constantly trying to crack the ceiling. He's literally trying to break us free, brothers and sisters, because there's one access point or exit point, and they're just all heavily guarded by just creatures and stuff. So I think the whole thing is that the land of Mars is our safest bet. I know it sounds wild, brothers and sisters. I know it does. But everything, it's just, I've got heaps of videos. This video is probably going to be like super, super long. So you're more than welcome to do it in parts or whatever. But I've just got to get this all out today because, if anything does go down on the 14th and 15th and 16th, then, yeah. All right, so let's get back to my notes. Let's start on this. Enough rambling. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. Now, as I do, when I write documents, literally, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm copying, pasting, writing, typing, and then, I'll add on to it the next day, and then I'll leave it for a little bit. So you've got to forgive me. So I'm just basically going to read what I wrote, and hopefully it'll trigger my mind to know why I actually wrote this and stuff. But I think a big part of my document here is to prove that this is incredible, like I told you, that the day of the Lord, the great and terrible or dreadful day of the Lord has already come, and I can prove it to you. And that, the great tribulation, everything like that has already come, and I can prove it to you. So that's going to be my main focus with my video today. So I'm just going to read and try and pick up on it. Okay, so one of my favourite parables to explain what I mean in the easiest way is Matthew 22. And Jesus answered and spoke unto them again by parables, and said, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son. Okay, this is obviously talking about Father, okay, and Jesus. And sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. Okay, so this, again, I'm just looking at this now and getting this. A certain king, which is Father, made a marriage for his son, and he sent forth his servants to come to the wedding. So everything is ready at this wedding. Can you imagine a wedding by Father? This wedding would be chef's kiss, top tier, like Crystal City, like, oh my goodness. Sorry, I just want to make sure that my microphone's still working. Yes, it is. Okay. So basically, I think this is also kind of an analogy to when Jesus came, or just prior to Jesus coming, Father was saying, please get out of the trap. Get out of the trap. I've got something so awesome for you. All you have to do is just be set free. Get out of that Yahwehian trap, blah, 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 blah. And people are just like, sorry. I've got to go and do my dinner. I've got to go look after the family, all that kind of stuff. Sorry about that. Maybe next time. So it goes on to say, and again, he sent forth other servants. So these are all these prophets, okay, trying to tell these traditional Israelites that, you're doing it all wrong. You're in prison, you're entrapped, and I'm here to break you free. But no one was going to listen, okay? So tell them all, which are bidden, behold, I've prepared my dinner. Come on, the mashed potatoes getting cold. Come on, hurry up. And, come to my wedding. But they made light of it and they went their way, one to his farm, the other to his merchandise, and the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them. But when the king, or father, heard of this, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burnt up their city. Brothers and sisters, this parable is 70 AD. When Father heard that they slaughtered his son, he was wroth and burned up their city. This is a fulfillment, okay, what happened in 70 AD. It was because of Father's wrath that the destruction of Jerusalem happened, okay, because they literally killed his son, the most important thing. And I came across something yesterday and I wrote it down as a download, and I'm sitting on it at the moment because I finally feel like I can explain why Jesus, Yeshua, is so friggin' important, like the most important person to ever exist on this, this earth. And maybe I'll share it a little bit later if I remember it, because I wrote it down. It's got something to do with like the Trinity of all things, and me and the Trinity, but I think it's a way that I can actually see the Trinity and also have the understanding that they're three separate people. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So then it goes on to say, then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Now go ye into the highways, and as many as you can find, bid to the marriage. Okay, so this is where, later on it says, your house is left desolate to you. The kingdom was taken from you and given to another people. Okay, so basically, Father wanted so much. This is why it says that I've come to save no one else but the lost house of Israel, because they were the only people lost, brothers and sisters. People think that the Jews have it right and, the Israels have it right and they've got the right teachings and the right traditions and the right God. No, Jesus literally came only for them. This is why he hung out with publicans and tax collectors, prostitutes, because they were sweet. Notice what he said when the Pharisees were like, oh, why do you hang out with tax collectors and prostitutes and all that kind of stuff? And he's like, because the healthy need no need of healing, but the sick do. So Jesus was literally saying, don't worry about me and my peeps, we're all sweet, we're good, Yeah, we've got a bit of desires of the flesh or whatever may be going on, but you know what? In our heart, we're all good. It's you dudes that are totally lost, totally whatever. Okay, so Jesus came only to free the lost, which is Israel, because they are under the Yahwehian curse of a false god and a false light. Okay, when Jesus went into the depths of hell, which was really Abraham's bosom. Okay, and Abraham's bosom is the moon matrix. It's the soul trap. It's the reincarnation cycle. That's what Abraham's bosom was. That's why there was no hell or anything, hell or heaven back then. It was literally Abraham's bosom. And, notice the difference between, actually, I'll continue reading because I was just about to say that. Okay, he literally freed, this, when Jesus died on the cross, all right, and he went into the ground for 3 days and 3 nights, he was alive because death is not real, okay? He literally freed the captives, brothers and sisters. The captives who were in Abraham's bosom from the beginning, from Adam's time, or even before that. Okay? That's what Jesus went down to do. They were in a matrix-trapped Abraham bosom moon matrix bullshit system, okay, down there in Hades, underneath the earth, whatever you want to call it. And Jesus went down there because that's why he previously went into the temple, opened up the scroll and read from Isaiah. And notice that Jesus didn't quite finish the verse, okay, when in Luke he reads from Isaiah, but he doesn't read all of Isaiah, because at the end it says he's going to preach the acceptable day of the Lord, and the day of vengeance shall come. Okay, he didn't want to throw that in there because the day of vengeance was coming, brothers and sisters, and that's 70 AD. I'm telling you, 70 AD. So Jesus literally takes his last breath on the cross, okay, and then goes down, pretty much gets his scroll out and says, "Hey, dudes, this is the truth." And and they see it, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, he's freed us! He's freed us! He's freed us! This is amazing! This is free knowledge, the truth setting us free." Okay, all these dudes down there in Abraham's bosom, whatever. And so Jesus comes back up, gets resurrected, okay? So all the people from the beginning of time until Jesus' time have been set free. And then all the time from Jesus' time till right this very moment have been set free. Thank you, Jesus, Yeshua. We love you so much. Okay, so let's continue on. And he literally set the captives free that were imprisoned there, and from the time of Jesus' death was swallowed up. From the time of Jesus, death was swallowed up. No victory, no sting anymore, for now we sleep. This is where the soul sleep argument can be settled, for they are both right in saying that when you die, you don't know nothing and you just wait until the resurrection, because that's what they used to believe in the Old Testament, right? My parents, being Seventh-day Adventists, they believe in soul sleep. They do not believe that when you die, you go to heaven. They believe you literally die, you stay in the grave, you sleep, and then you wait for the resurrection, right? Okay, so this is how it can both be true, because back in the Old Testament, yes, that's all they had, because they had Abraham's bosom. They were stuck there. It was a prison. It was a prison, okay? And also, and then, later on in the New Testament says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. So, you know what I mean? So we've got both truths in both sides, because the Old Testament, they were under a curse. Death had a sting. Death was victorious. But now Jesus came and death had no sting. Death wasn't victorious anymore, okay? Okay, now check this out. Okay, so, yes, so like I said, the Old Testament, like my parents, they believe that their soul sleeps in the ground, they wait to the resurrection. Now, what's the resurrection? That's Jesus' resurrection, okay? It's Jesus' resurrection. It's the only resurrection that's important. Okay, now listen to this. What happens at Jesus' resurrection? It says, Matthew 27:50, Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost, and behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from top to bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. Listen to this. And the graves were opened. Okay, so this is when the graves opened as soon as Jesus took his last breath, and there was a great earthquake and the veil went in two, okay? But guess what happened? And many bodies of the saints which slept arose and came out of the grave, what? After his resurrection, and went to the holy city. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to read what I wrote here. So this is amazing. For not only was Jesus' resurrection literally our freedom, liberty, and release from all evil, but did you notice that the graves cracked open upon Jesus' last breath on the cross, but the bodies did not come out of the grave until after his resurrection. So that proves my theory. Abraham's bosom was the soul trap, and Jesus literally spent 3 days and nights revealing the truth of their imprisonment. See the story of Lazarus in Luke 119. Oh, is that right? I don't think there's 119 chapters in Luke. The story of Lazarus in Luke, okay? All right, this beggar, Lazarus, is the same Lazarus that Jesus resurrected 4 days after he died. Notice it's 4 days, brothers and sisters, 4 days. Because Lazarus was being... This all has to... I know you're like, oh, but, you know, that was 2 days before the Passover, blah, blah, blah. You have to realize that time is not a construct. Time is a false construct. So in the realm of the sleeping or the dead, so-called, there is no time. So the fact that Lazarus was in his tomb, and he was the beggar, brothers and sisters, he was the beggar in the other story in Luke, the begging for crumbs, and then the rich guy and Lazarus goes into Abraham's bosom, rich guy goes into the great chasm, and he's like, give me a spot of water for my tongue, it's so hot here. Anyway, they're the same Lazarus, brothers and sisters. That's why he was in the thing for 4 days, just like Jesus was, because he couldn't be, like, the graves cracked open, but the bodies didn't come out until Jesus did. Okay, and then it says, they went up into the holy city and appeared to many. Brothers and sisters, this is amazing. And this is amazing that this is not written in more. There's probably a lost apocrypha book out that talks about this great event of this resurrection here, okay? Okay, so let me read again. This beggar, Lazarus, is the same Lazarus that Jesus resurrected 4 days after he died, 2 days before the Passover. So a Jewish man, Lazarus, could fully be awakened to the reality of the matrix soul track before it happened. Oh, that's the other theory I had, was that a full Jewish man could actually experience the liberation and freedom within Abraham's bosom 2 days before Jesus was going to make it a fact. So Lazarus was a type of witness to, yes, this man is our liberty and freedom, okay? But then I wrote, as you can see by the last line in Luke 19, it states, and he said, nay, Father Abraham, but if one went up to them from the dead, they will repent. And he said unto them, if they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. That's a boom, drop the mic statement in so many ways. Because in one, Moses is saying to, Abraham is saying to this rich man, it doesn't matter. You can go back up there and reappear from the dead and say, oh, this is the truth. No one would listen to you. But Jesus was also acknowledging that that's what's going to happen to him too. It wouldn't matter if he went, and this is, it wouldn't matter if he went all the way to the cross and died for us, which he did. But guess what? It does matter. Because like he says, I'll come for the one and leave the 99. Because we are so important. Many, many, many are called, but very few are chosen, brothers and sisters. And I'm not sure if I've written this statement because it's just popping in my head now, but I want you to think about something. You know, the word Lord is actually Baal. Oh, look, I'll show you just to prove. And it got me thinking the other day, and I thought, you know how Jesus says, on that day, many will come to me and say, Lord, Lord, did I not do all these wonderful things in your name? Hang on. Lord equals... yeah. And I thought, oh, I wonder if that's why he said that, because that verse never made sense to me, because I'm like, well, how are all these people doing wonderful things in your name? And you're like, I don't know who you are. That made no sense to me. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if it's because people keep calling him Lord. like, you know what I mean? Here, Baal was the title and honorific meaning owner or Lord, okay? Okay, here's our master. Here's our ascended master, Jesus. And I know people are, that's New Age, ascended master. No, it's not actually, because Jesus is our master. That's the only thing we're supposed to call him. And he ascended. So he's a legit ascended master. Okay. So, and it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. And the rich man also died and was buried. I thought that was interesting because, again, we see another massive difference between what happens to a good person and a bad person when they die/sleep. So it's almost as if a wicked person or a person that's, you know, doesn't want a piece of it, they get buried and they die. But guess what? A good person gets carried by angels into Abraham's bosom. So this was in the Old Testament, okay? So you can imagine how much more greater it is for us now. In the second book of Esdras, it talks about two holding chambers, one for the good, one for the bad, and we go through 7 stages of, our first stage for the good people is like, oh, we realize our rest, and we're like, taking the biggest sigh of our lifetime, right? Yes, this is all over. We can just chill now and just wait for this all to wrap up. But you know what? I truly think we are the ones that it does say in the Bible that, you know, that we won't see death. I don't think we're going to see death, brothers and sisters. I think we're going to live through not that death is real anyway, but I don't think we're actually going to experience that, a lot of us. I think we're ready, we're awakened enough for us to not be entrapped by that belief anymore. So that's interesting. So the servants went out on the highways and gathered together to gather all as many as they found, both good and bad, and the wedding was furnished with guests. Okay, here we see that because the Israelites killed the light and truth of the world, it was forever removed from them. Okay, the Christians today think, God's going to call Israel back. No, brothers and sisters, Israel doesn't want anything to do with the real Father. Believe me, they have their Father. Okay, here we see that because the Israelites killed the light and the truth of the world, it was forever removed from them, forever outside the gates, the gnashing of teeth, and conspiring against the children of the Most High to deceive them and to deny them of the truth that will save them. And it continues on, verse 11. And when the king came to see the guests, he saw there was a man which had not on a wedding garment. The question is here, in the previous verse, both bad and good were invited to the wedding, but suddenly now there's one dude without a wedding garment and he's getting kicked out. Why? Because the wedding garment must be an allegory for wisdom or awareness or being freed from being clothed in the Yahweh tradition or being under the law. I have a feeling this wedding garment may have something to do with Adam and Eve's revelation. They were naked, and the cloth of death from a poor innocent lamb, none the least. It's funny how we see naked as a bad thing when you really think about it, it was only when the curses, the childbirth, the pain, the toiling for the land, were placed on humans that the first thing done was a ritual to sacrifice an innocent life for the sake of, Adam and Eve being clothed. You see what I mean? Everything. It seems like we've just been lied to beyond belief. And you know how I was talking about the Tower of Babel? Prior to that, we were all telekinesis with each other. We didn't have to speak, whatever. Well, isn't that funny that that's coming back now when they're realizing the autistic people, they have this ability to speak telekinesisly. And I've watched an amazing little thing the other day where apparently a lot of these children, when they go to dream, they meet up on this place called the Hill. And we've been lied to so much of what this earth really is. Okay, and he said unto them, Friend, how did you get in here? And how come you don't have a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then said the king to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him out to outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen. I just want to stop there because something just came to my heart just then about that. And for some reason, the story of Judas. This is why, Judas tricked him. Even though Jesus knew from the beginning, Judas tricked him. He wore the same clothes as him, as his fellows and whatever. But, he shouldn't have been invited to the wedding, if you know what I'm saying. Then went out the Pharisees and took counsel on how they might entangle him in his talk. And they set out unto his disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true, and teachest the way of God in truth. Neither carest for any man, or regard not person of men. Tell us, therefore, what do you think? Is it lawful to give tribute to Caesar or not? But Jesus perceived their wickedness, and said, Why do you tempt me, ye hypocrites? Show me the tribute money. And they brought him a penny. And he said, Whose image or subscription is this? And they said, Caesar's. Then he said unto them, Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things which are God. And when they heard these words, they marvelled, and left him and went their way. Oh my goodness, my stomach is growling big time. Let's just go down a bit. No, we'll continue reading. On the same day came to him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, and asked him, saying, Master, Moses said, if a man died having no children, his brother shall marry a wife, and raise up seed unto his brother. Now there were with us 7 brothers, and the first, when he had married wife, deceased, and had no issues, left his wife unto his brother, blah, blah, blah. The second also, the third, the 7th, and the last of all, the woman died also. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7? For they all had her. Jesus answered and said unto them, Ye do err. Like, you're crazy. You don't even know what you're talking about, men. Not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as angels of God in heaven. Now, can we just take a moment to really absorb that, brothers and sisters? Do you realize the freedom and I can't even think, there's not even a word that I can describe the freedom that each and every one of our spirits and souls is going to have very shortly, is just out of this world. We are going to have no responsibilities except for learning, loving, living, experiencing the best things ever, continuously all day long. We're going to have no reason to and this is the thing, this just came to me now. Maybe this is another good thing for AI. Because people go, AI is going to take over all of our jobs. But when we're in perfect peace and perfect harmony, perfect paradise, we've got no more shitty foods, no more polluted chemicals that are trying to kill us, we're going to be perfect. What is the point of working when we can use our God-given powers that have been stolen from us or hidden from us, like, instant manifestation and creating, because that's what we are. We are creators like our Father. We're not going to have to worry about changing nappies or, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get to work and work for 50 hours a week. Brothers and sisters, AI will do all this for us. This is touching me right now. All right. But as for touching the resurrection of the dead, you have not read what was in the scriptures unto you by saying, I'm the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but the living. Okay, so right here is my first proof that death isn't real, okay? Because he's saying, hey, I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm the God of the living, not the dead. So those three dudes are alive, okay? Okay, so Jesus is clarifying here that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are still alive, exactly the same way Elijah is John the Baptist. Even Jesus himself said it. Now this is, brothers and sisters, I cried when I came across this understanding or understanding, because this is wild. I don't know how many of you guys have seen this before. I'm doubted I'm the first. Okay, so Matthew 17:10, and his disciples asked him, saying, why then says the scribes that Elias, or Elijah, must come first? And Jesus answered and said to them, Elijah truly shall come first and restore all things. Okay, so remember that. Jesus himself is saying this, that Elijah is going to truly come first and then he's going to restore all things. But I say unto you that Elijah has already come, and they didn't know him, but have done whatever they wanted, and likewise they shall also do to the Son of Man. They're going to make him suffer. Then the disciples understood that he spoke of them of John the Baptist. Now, get ready to blow your mind, brothers and sisters. Okay, I'm going to cover that so you don't see it. Okay, one, I want to make a point, because for a long time, because of church indoctrination, anything to do with reincarnation was, that was demonic. That's New Age. That's, Hinduism, Buddhism, whatever. No, brothers and sisters. Like last year, I reread, the Transfiguration story, and seeing that, for one, Elijah and who else was standing up there? Was it Moses, Elijah, and someone else? All right. For one, them three dudes are just chilling up there. Pardon me. Already dead, supposedly. And anyway, sorry. I won't get sidetracked because this is super important. Okay. So I want to read that again. But I say unto you that Elijah has already come, and they knew him not, but they've done whatever they wanted to him. Likewise, they shall do to the Son of Man. Okay, so this isn't Elijah as in Elijah, in the Old Testament, but it is. It's Elijah reincarnated, and I'm about to blow your mind. Okay, Elijah is literally John the Baptist. It's the same spirit that, I'm telling you. Okay, so check this out. So the prophecy of Elijah coming, and then when he comes, he's going to restore all things, was in Malachi 4:5. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Okay, and he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Do you understand this, brothers and sisters? Jesus is verifying that Elijah has come from the prophecy of Malachi 4:5, and they are going to do whatever they want to him and treat him spitefully. They did. They cut off his head and they treated him like crap. And Jesus is saying when Elijah comes, he's going to fulfill all things, and restore all things, to make things new. And he was the one that, the voice in the wilderness, making the path straight for Jesus, right? And notice here, he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to the fathers. Okay? He's bringing the family back together. He's bringing the family back together. And that's what John did. John was there to be the precursor to Jesus. He is the reincarnated Elijah. And this is why, anyway, I just thought that was mad, okay? All right, so I wrote, now the even more amazing part is that where this prophecy actually comes from is Malachi 4:5-6, in which amazingly proves the great and dreadful day of the Lord has already happened. Elijah will come, which is John, like I just said, before the great for some and dreadful for many day of the Lord. This is the wrath of the king. This is 70 AD, brothers and sisters. And notice how it goes on to say that he shall turn the hearts of the father to the children and the hearts of the children to the father. Lest I come to smite the earth with a curse. This is a choice that Israel had after the resurrection. Either receive the words of Jesus, the Son, and turn, repent your hearts to love for God and one another, or reject the truth and prepare for Father to come and smite the earth with a curse. A curse, mind you, that the Jews placed on themselves in Matthew 27:25. Then answered all the people and said, his blood be on us and our children. This is why that they are not coming back into the fold, brothers and sisters. Paul, the Herodian, Saul, he added to his gospel, brothers and sisters. They're not coming back into the fold. They rejected him. They rejected the cornerstone. That they've been dealt with, and not in the biggest way. That's coming. Okay, so we'll go on to this. And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at the doctrine. But when the Pharisees had heard that he had put the Sadducees to silence, they gathered together. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him, saying, Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love thy God with all thy heart, soul, and mind. This is the first and great commandment. The second one is like unto it. You shall love your neighbours as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So right there and then, I love that one. I love that one, brothers and sisters, because that blasts out all doctrine, all religious texts, all whatever, right out the window. This is all you literally have to do, is love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love each other as yourself. The world would be such a beautiful place if we all lived like this. And while the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them, saying, What do you think of Christ? Whose son is he? They said unto him, The son of David. And he said unto them, How then does David in the Spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord said unto my Lord, You shall sit at my right hand till I make the enemies thy footstool. If David then called him Lord, how is he his son? And no man was able to answer him a word, neither does any man from that day forth ask him any more questions. Boom, brothers and sisters. Again, I want to reiterate, the only original gospel is the Gospel of Mark. It doesn't have a birth story, doesn't have a resurrection story. And if you go, yes it does, that's because from Mark 16, chapter 16, verses 9 to 20 have been added. It's written in many books that's been added, okay? That's the resurrection story. And it starts at Jesus' baptism. Okay, this whole, that's the first thing on Matthew 1:1, is that Jesus Christ, the Son of David. I told you, brothers and sisters, the evil people they were shitting themselves, okay? They were shitting themselves that Jesus accomplished this and their power was on the way out. Okay, so they did everything they could to twist and, infiltrate the scriptures and do their thing. So what do? They added their lineage to try and join it onto Jesus. Jesus has nothing to do with the lineage of King David, brothers and sisters. He does not. Remember who does, though. King Charles, okay, the monarch, they have a direct lineage to King David. Now, do you really think that Jesus is in a direct lineage with King Charles? No. Okay, they're the complete opposite. Think logically, okay? They're trying to put Jesus into their storybook because they realize they can't win, so they just join us. They're like, all right, if we can't win this, we're going to intertwine it. It's the same crap happened after Jesus' resurrection. They scrambled. They started bribing people, tell people that the body was stolen, blah 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 blah. And this is what happened with Paul too. This is what the rest of the God. This is why I always say Jesus' words only, then the book of Mark only too. That's all you need to know. Because Paul, who was Saul, is a Herodian, brothers and sisters. The very people who chopped off John the Baptist's head. I mean, they're very smart. They're very smart. Think about it. The Herodians, they're like, oh, damn, these Christians, they're pretty, resilient. They keep forming a number and getting bigger and bigger. How about you go and pretend to be one of them, write a whole heap of stuff that has nothing to do with what Jesus said? And, I can show you where Paul, 4 times, he says, in my gospel. And he is the one that started this whole, you have to be covered in the blood of Jesus and you have to believe on his death, his death, burial and resurrection to be saved. And, all this blood sacrifice, old Yahwehan Roman Jewish bullshit, okay? And Jesus warned us of exactly Paul. He said, if anyone says, if anyone goes out into the desert and says, here I am, that's exactly what Paul did. He went out to the desert and went, oh, Jesus appears to me. Even though Jesus specifically says that John the Baptist was the very last prophet, okay? The very last prophet. He said, up into the days from John the Baptist to now, there's war in heaven and it continues constantly. But John was the last prophet because Jesus was the last hurrah. That's all we needed, okay? So, so I just got here, and the devil said unto him, all this power I'll give to you, and the glory of them, for that it has been delivered unto me, and whoever I will give it. I just think I put that verse there because people don't realize that this earth here is actually the evil's control. It's their domain. They created it. That's why he could stand up on the mountain and say to Jesus, I'll give you all of this because it's all mine. Okay? It's very simple when you really read it from a child's perspective. Revelation 21, saw a new heaven, new earth. I think I touched on this on my last video, but we'll do it again. For the first heaven, the first earth will pass away. There was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice from heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God, and God shall wipe away all the tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. So I wrote, I believe the New Jerusalem coming down from heaven, and remember the kingdom of heaven is within you, is actually going to be what you would call a UFO mothership, and the Isra elites have infiltrated and twisted the truth so as to create a narrative, a script, or a doctrine for the billions of Christians that live in an inverted, upside-down version of reality. Hence why our avatar creators, the Elohim, made it so our eyes project everything upside down first. It's very clever of them. This is where the narrative of that aliens are really fallen angels BS comes into full force. This is a purely evil doctrine, brothers and sisters, because just by using your common sense, you should know by now that these aliens that have been present in our lives now for quite some time, so there's no denying they exist anymore, have had a very long time to have made us into their slaves or hurt us in some way, if their actual intentions were evil. It's extremely obvious by now that they're here to help us. The Hopeye prophecy speaks of this. The blue kachina showed itself in 2017, and it was a warning for the next 7 years. And after that, the red kachina will arrive, and it has, big time. And this is the final countdown, brothers and sisters. In the 90s, I believe. Oh, yes. Okay, this, I won't read this part because some dude went on a total rant on my last video about how I continue to spread misinformation because this wasn't George Bush Sr., it was somebody else. Ronald Reagan or something. Who gives a crap who said it? The point of what I was trying to say, brother, is that, that what was said was that we need an existential threat from outside our world that would unite humanity to come together to fight against it. I just want a little side rant here. It's people that like to make 20-paragraph comments about ridiculous shit like that. Toddle off, go away, please unsubscribe and never hear from me again. I really don't have time for your bullcrap anymore. We're getting to the end of the human cycle of history. The most greatest event in history is about to happen. You want to argue about this shit? Anyway, rant over. All right. In other words, the elites have been pre-programming Christians to believe that any contact, appearance, or arrival of aliens would be seen as a threat, rather than what they actually are, our saviors. Okay, they're bringing the new heavens and earth to us. No wonder they want us to rebel against it. Let's look at the final battle of ages. Okay, Revelation 12:8, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, and gather them to battle. The number of whom is of the sands of the sea. That can only be the indoctrinated Christians, because that's the biggest group of people that we have on this earth, right? And imagine if all the Christians were believed in their heart, that this is really fallen angels coming to earth. We're going to be the saints. We're going to be the ones that are going to fight with Yeshua, and we're going to take them down. When it's really the other way around. And they went up to the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about and the beloved city, and the fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. So yeah, I truly, truly, truly think that this whole New Jerusalem is really, it's up there, it's coming. Whether it's this red sun, Nibiru, the red kachina, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter. One thing I want to throw in there, another word for it, is what it is called in the Bible, and that's wormwood. What's wormwood, brother? What's brothers and sisters? What is the biggest ingredient for? Parasite cleanse. What are the evil entities and all that crap? They are literal parasites, brothers and sisters. They've proved that, like schizophrenia and mental health and stuff, they've done scans and they've seen like demons inside people's bodies and stuff. All diseases and stuff are a demonic curse or parasites. And this is what the red kachina is. It is the purifier. Okay, and if it's called wormwood, that is like the main ingredient in any parasite cleanse. Crazy, right? So, here's another example. I live in Australia, right? Australia seems very weird because there's always these things, Australia doesn't exist, and where is Australia really? And what is, why is it such a weird, we're so different from everybody else. And I've had a lot of, people who've watched me and listened to me for years. I'm an Aquarius, right? So I have a big affinity with water, and I love Atlanteans. I truly believe that that's where I came from. And I was in Atlantis and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, recently I've been seeing, and I've known this because I've known that, because I love maps. I used to have a massive, big, old world flat earth map on my wall. But in the old maps, Australia was actually called Australis Antarctica. Okay? And then I saw something the other day that showed that Australia is actually like literally it's literally a cradle that's cradling the rest of the world. Like, it's so massive. And I'm like, oh, imagine if that was true. Imagine if we were the cradle of the world. And then I thought, you know what? I've also heard that Australia is actually Madagascar. And that's why our climate between Africa and Australia is so similar. And then, I heard the other day that Utah is actually Judah, and the Mississippi River is actually the Nile. It would make sense why Jerusalem literally has USA in the middle of their name. But anyway, this here, Australia, appears under the name of Antosi on the famous spherical world map of Crates of Malos, even appearing on the Greek map of Ereth whatever in 239 BC. It seems fairly certain that the maritime civilization of antiquity were quite capable of extensive ocean voyages, particularly the early Egyptians, as evidenced by Gizeh's remarkable tomb of the boat. Okay. This is a map. This is Australia here, brothers and sisters, down here. This is Australia. Okay. It's, like it says, Australia appears under the name of Andy or whatever. That's it there. Apparently Australia and Antarctica were connected at one stage. What I want you to note here is the trident. The trident, brothers and sisters. Oh my goodness. Like, The Little Mermaid is literally my favourite all-time childhood movies. And I know every word of every song. It's a big karaoke hit for me. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Anyway, I won't bore you with my singing. But it is a karaoke fave of mine. Where are we? So here, look at how big Australia is. Notice the trident. Always felt a connection with Atlantis. Australia is also once called Australis Antarctica. Everything is backwards. So by them saying Antarctica is freezing, could literally be the opposite. Okay? Look at this, a comparison of the size of Antarctica and Australia. Okay, Australia is responsible for the part of the coldest, windiest and least hospitable continent in the world, as well as some of the groundbreaking scientific researches that takes place there. Was Antarctica ever called Australia? To put it simply, Antarctica used to be called Australia. Then in 1824, today's Australia took the name, leaving the icy continent essentially without a proper name until the 1890s. Okay. So blah, blah, blah. I think this was the Tower of Babel incident where, here. Were Antarctica and Australia connected? Some 200 million years ago, Antarctica was joined to South America, Africa, India and Australia in a single large continent called Gondwanaland. There was no ice sheets and trees and large animals flourished, okay? And I wrote, I think this was the Tower of Babel incident, where we were robbed of our telekinesis powers and separated us by splitting the continents up. Gotta be, right? Okay, this is Antares A. This is the heart of Scorpion. Okay, just want you to know where it is. Oh, this is 19 years ago. In 2006, on June the 11th, okay? So the moon's in exactly the same place. That's why it hasn't been that way for like 18, 19 years. So very important. And this is 2025, same spot. Okay. Okay, I tried so hard to keep all my tabs up. Remember last video I was showing you that I had like 34 tabs up and I was going to go through them all, but for some reason I don't know how to do this because it's only giving me the option to delete them. But I found my section of tabs, so I'm hoping I can, let's see if I can bring this up. Oh, yeah, cool. Okay, so just a little reminder about what I was talking about in my last video I got really excited about. So just a bit of backstory. I've been trying to explain to my parents, who are devout Seventh-day Adventist believers, that the Matthew 24 has already been fulfilled, the great tribulation has already happened, the chariots in the sky, Jesus coming in the clouds, it's already happened and it's already been actually documented. And, Mum has always been, ridiculous child, I prefer to stick to, the Bible, it's the word of God, and I will, I'll blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool, I don't push it, but I do try and bring it up occasionally. And I always, it's my own fault, but because I don't have a printer or anything like that, I'm like, I should make her a big document, go down to the library, print it out to show her the stuff. Anyway, so I'm just looking around and I come across an excerpt of a book which talks about Josephus writing about, this event happening and many, many witnesses seeing this. And I look and it's from Ellen G. White, which is literally the Seventh-day Adventist female prophetess, that they hold her in very high regard. And anyway, so long story short, this book, The Great Controversy, has a whole section called The Destruction of Jerusalem. Let's see if I can find it. Without... just trying to think. Where it says about the signs. Just give me a sec. Okay, I've found it. It's on page 28, okay? I think, 29. Okay, it goes on to say, signs and wonders appeared, foreboding disasters and doom. In the midst of the night, an unnatural light... Hang on, I'll start a bit more... Where are we? Okay, all the predictions given by Christ concerning the destruction of Jerusalem were fulfilled to the letter. The Jews experienced the truth of his words of warning. With what measure ye mete, it shall be measured unto you. Matthew 7:2. Signs and wonders appeared, foreboding disasters and doom. In the midst of the night, an unnatural light shone over the temple and the altar. Upon the clouds at sunset were pictured chariots and men of war gathering for battle. The priests ministering by night in the sanctuary were terrified by the mysterious sounds. The earth trembled, and a multitude of voices were heard crying, "Let us depart hence." The great eastern gate, which was so heavy that it could hardly be shut off by a score of men, that's 20, and which was secured by immense bars of iron fastened deep into the pavement of solid stone, opened at midnight without visible agency. Okay, and then it goes on to say, for 7 years a man continued to go up and down the street of Jerusalem, declaring the woes that were to come upon the city. By day and by night he chanted the wild dirge, a voice from the east, a voice from the west, a voice from the four winds, a voice against Jerusalem and against the temple, a voice against the bridegrooms and the brides, a voice against the whole people. This strange being was imprisoned and scourged, but no complaint escaped his lips. To insult and abuse, he answered only, "Woe, woe to Jerusalem! Woe, woe to the inhabitants thereof!" His warning's cry ceased not until he was slain in the siege he had foretold. Not one Christian perished in the destruction of Jerusalem. Christ had given his disciples warning, and all who believed his words watched for the promised sign. "When ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies," said Jesus, "then you know the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which in Judea flee out of the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out." Luke 21:20-21. After the Romans under Cetus had surrounded the city, they unexpectedly... Hang on, I've got to make this bigger. They unexpectedly abandoned the siege when everything seemed favourable for an imminent attack. The besieged, despairing of successful resistance, were on the point of surrender when the Roman general withdrew his forces without the least apparent reason. But God's merciful providence was directing events for good for his own people. The promised sign had been given to the waiting Christians, and now an opportunity was offered for all who would to obey the Saviour's warning. Events were so overruled that neither Jew nor Roman should hinder the flight of the Christians. Upon the retreat of Cetus, the Jews, sallying from Jerusalem, pursued after his retiring army, and while both forces were thus fully engaged, the Christians had opportunity to leave the city. At this time, the country had also been cleared of the enemies who might have endeavoured to intercept them. At the time of the siege, the Jews were assembled at Jerusalem to keep the feast of the Passover, and thus the Christians throughout the land were able to make their escape unmolested. Without delay, they fled to a place of safety, the city of Pella, in the land of Petra beyond Jordan. I'll read a little bit more. The Jewish forces pursuing after Cetus and his armies fell upon their rears with such fierceness as to threaten them with total destruction. It was with great difficulty that the Romans succeeded in making their retreat. The Jews escaped almost without loss, and their spoils returned in triumph to Jerusalem. Yet this apparent success brought them only evil. It inspired them with the spirit of stubborn resistance to the Romans, which speedily brought unutterable woe upon the doomed city. Terrible were the calamities that fell upon Jerusalem when the siege was resumed by Titus. The city was infested at the time of Passover. When millions of Jews were assembled within the walls. Their stores of provision, which, if carefully preserved, would have supplied the inhabitants for years, had previously been destroyed through a jealousy and revenge of contending factions, and now all the horrors of starvation were experienced. All right, I'll stop there, because that's facts, brothers and sisters, okay? The timeline, when you're looking at your 1,260 days or 3.5 years or 42 months, all of this fits absolutely perfect, okay? The beginning of the 3.5 years, brothers and sisters, fell on 66 AD. This is what this story here is telling us about. The Romans first came to first attack, and then by God's favour, they retreated. And this was where Jesus said, when you therefore see this happen, you need to flee, go. Already fulfilled, brothers and sisters. This is not happening in the future, okay? And then, like I read to you before about the signs, upon the clouds at sunset were pictured chariots and men of war gathering for battle. Let me find you some more... where is that? Oh, I don't know. I'm looking for all of my old 2 seconds. So I've just gone onto a search page and I've wrote Josephus chariots in the sky and just gone onto the images there, and you can see there's heaps. This looks like it's a YouTube video, but here we go. We'll take this one. Does historical account of chariots in the clouds actually describe? Let's go there. Okay, so this is what Josephus writes in his book. Okay, a certain prodigious and incredible phenomena appeared. I suppose the account of it would seem to be a fable, were it not the events that followed it of so considerable a nature as to deserve such signals. Sorry, that made no sense. For before sunsetting, chariots and troops of soldiers in their armour were seen running about among the clouds. Moreover, at that feast which we call Pentecost, as the priests were going by night into the inner temple, they said that in the first place they felt a quaking, and then they heard a great noise. But brothers and sisters, just look into it. It's not. There's a few people that have written about this. Anyway, let's do this. Let's go to Bible Gateway. Let's go to Matthew 24. Just go to New King James for sake of ease. All right, so let's read this over together. Okay. Then Jesus went out of the temple. Not one of these stones shall be left upon another. That's very important. Remember that verse, that none of these stones shall be left upon another, because he brings it up in a little bit. Okay, so his disciples are saying, tell us, when will these things be? What will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? Okay, so here we've got it straight up, brothers and sisters, straight up. When will these things be? What's that? He's talking about the destruction of the temple, okay? So 70 AD. What will be the sign of your coming? And we can read a little bit further down what the sign of his coming will be. And then what will be the end of the age? See, in a lot of other translations, it'll say world, but that's not the correct translation. It's an eon, which means an age. And we live in different ages, okay? And the Great Tribulation was to that age, and then the other ages to follow were never going to be as bad as that age. Okay, let's continue on. So there you can see with those first three questions. Tell us, when will these things be? When in 70 AD, when the temple gets destroyed and the stones won't be left on top of each other. What will be the sign of your coming? And what will be the end of the age? What will be the sign of the end of the age? And then Jesus said, take heed, no one deceives you. Many are going to come in my name, saying I'm Christ, and will deceive many. That's exactly what Paul did. Okay, he's deceiving many, many, many. And they're going to hear rumours of wars. Okay, look at it. Research yourself, brothers and sisters. There were heaps of wars that were breaking out at this time. Okay, see that you're not troubled, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There'll be famine, pestilence, and earthquakes in various places. All these things are the beginning. Okay, kingdom against kingdom. That is, the Ostrogoths, the Vandals, all of that, okay? You read about that in Daniel too, all the things. Anyway, and there will be famine and pestilences, okay? The reason there were famines was because, like I just read to you before, and I'll elaborate, when the Romans started attacking, then they forgot all about their crops, like planting crops and seeding crops and stuff like that. So, the next year they were like, oh my goodness, we didn't plant a crop last year, we've got no harvest. Okay, so you can understand for 3.5 years, they literally had no food. So they were to the point of scrambling outside at night, under the shadows, trying to get a few blades of grass. And, it got to the point, brothers and sisters, where it was so bad that, mothers were eating their own young, okay? And that's where the verse in the Bible where it says, woe to those that are breastfeeding, and that. And then also when Jesus was on the cross, women were crying for him, and he says, don't cry for me, women, cry for yourselves and for your children. Because he knew what was about to go down. Brothers and sisters, it's already, all of it, the whole lot of it's played out. The only bit we're waiting for now is the final battle. That's what we would call World War III, whatever. I think there's going to be a final darkest moment before dawn. And fire coming out of heaven from God. Malachi 4, burn up as an oven to stubble under our feet. Instant. Okay? Then they're going to deliver you up to tribulation and kill you. You'll be hated by all nations for my sake. Then you'll betray one another and hate one another. Exactly what happened. False prophets. Yeah, there was 3 big false prophets that claimed that they were Jesus at that time. And because of lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold, and he who endures to the end will be saved. Okay? You really think that's talking about 2,000 years? He who endures to the end of 2,000 years? No. It's he who endures to the end of that 3.5 years. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to the nations, and then the end will come. Well, you read a little bit further on, and Paul says that he has preached the gospel to the whole known world back then. He said it's all been done. The Great Tribulation. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, let he who understand. And when Daniel gave this prophecy, again, I want to remind people that the second temple wasn't even built yet. So there's no third temple. Yes, there is on the 3D negative Christian doctrine timeline. Yes, you're going to get your third temple. You're going to get your Antichrist raving on in there and carrying on like God. Yeah, you will get that because that's what you believe and that's what you wanted. Whoever reads this, let those in Judea flee to the mountain. As I just read in that book, the Romans came, they attacked, and then they retreated for some reason, which gave the Christians, or those that understood and listened to Jesus, enough time to flee and to go to Petra. Let him who's on the housetop don't go down to take any of his clothes. Whoever's in the field, don't go back to take clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant, nursing babies. Pray that your flight is not on winter. Funny that I just read to you before that the first attack was on Passover. Okay, and Passover is just coming out of spring, and it is on the Sabbath. Just coming out of winter, and it's on the Sabbath. And then it says, for then shall be great tribulation. Now listen very carefully. Such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, and won't be ever again. That was your great tribulation, brothers and sisters. That time, which was the worst time in history, nothing as bad before it, nothing as bad after it. In that age, that's the end of the age. And then it says, look, if anyone says to you, here is Christ, or there he is, don't believe it. For false Christ and prophets will show you great signs and wonders. Okay, just like Paul did when he got bit by the snake and lived. Okay, and people are going to go, oh, but it says, Jesus says that, you're going to be bitten by snakes and nothing's going to touch you. Boom, another verse that's already been added. Brothers and sisters, you have to understand that we've been lied to. That verse that says that Jesus is going to give us that power to drink venom and nothing will happen to us, that was added. That was added. Look, do your own research. Don't take my word for it. All right. You know, Paul's doing all sorts of great signs and wonders. Look, I'll give him his claps, okay, for the amount of Christians it's brought into the world. I used to love all the writings of Paul, but we're coming down to the nitty gritty now. We have to be super hardcore Bereans and really research this stuff. Because I don't know anybody in their right mind who realises the time that we're living in who doesn't want to make sure the facts are the facts are the facts. This is our soul, our life, our existence that we're talking about, brothers and sisters. I'm only just sharing you my journey so that maybe one or two things that I say, you might go, oh, okay. I never thought of it that way. I might check it out for myself. That's all I'm asking. You don't have to believe nothing I say. But I do feel a real pull on my heart to share this for the very few people that actually really appreciate it. So that's why I've never monetized any of my, yes, I've asked for donations and stuff when I was doing the homeless meals. And I haven't been doing that this year because, one, we've got a very bad problem with like drugs and everything going on our main streets. And it's the majority of the homeless people, they're like breaking into our shops and stuff. And so these people, we got to the point where we were realising that when we were going down and feeding them every day, they're there with all their alcohol, their cigarettes and everything like that. And it's like, well, you had the money to do that. And anyway, so long story short, what was I going to say? I don't know what I was going with that. False prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I've told you this beforehand. Therefore, if you say, look, he's in the desert, don't go out. That's exactly what Paul did. Look, he's in the desert. Therefore, look, he's in the inner rooms, don't believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. Wherever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be dark and the moon will not give her light. The stars will fall from the heavens and the power of heavens shall be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds. Now, remember what we read in Matthew 27, brothers and sisters? That when Jesus took his last breath on the cross, the graves cracked open, and after his resurrection, many souls, many saints from the ground came out of the graves and went up into the holy place. It's happened, brothers and sisters. It's happened. It's happened. It's happened. It's happened. So now learn the parable. See, this is a very important couple of verses here. Now learn the parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth fruit, you know that the summer is near. So you also, when you see these things, know that it is near at the doors. Surely I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. He's said this to so many people. You standing here will see this. Your generation, this generation, people will see this. The time is at hand. The time is near. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. He's talking about that time he was there, brothers and sisters, because the only reason Jesus came again was for the lost people of Israel. No one else, not for the prostitution, not for the tax collectors, not for the publicans. No, brothers and sisters, they're cool. They're good. They were chilling. They were getting ripped off by the system. Okay, they were the good people. It's the governments. Okay, it's the governments, brothers and sisters. That's what it's the governments, it's the Pharisees, it's the Sadducees, it's the Sanhedrin, it's the Yahweh system. Again, I'll explain a little bit about Yahweh. the story goes, is that Father Source, okay? And then he has Sophia, which is what we would call the Holy Spirit now, or wisdom, okay? And that those two were from the beginning, the mother and the father, okay? And it says that the Sophia did something naughty and tried to create her own thing without the essence of the masculine, so to speak. Basically, without asking the father. She's decided to create this thing, which turned out to be, long story short, Satan, because Satan was created and manifested. He's like, oh, okay, there is no other gods beside me, because I'm here, I'm alone, I've got all this power from my two divine parents, basically. And that's what started this shit. And basically, this is the word, his original name, Satan, this creature, demiurge, archon, whatever you want to call it, was named Sin, S-I-N. And this is where sin comes in. Okay, this is why we were born into sin. Not only were we born into that because of the Matrix prison, we were born into sin as in the sin wave, the S-I-N-E, the woo, woo, woo. We were born into the sine wave, brothers and sisters, the sin wave. We were born into sin. We were born into this frequency, energetic, predictive programming matrix bullshit. And the veil's thinning. It all has everything to do with Saturn. Remember how the rings on Saturn? Now, I'm not talking about, these planets in outer space, whatever. I don't give a crap where they are, whether they're the other side of the ice wall, in space, wherever, it doesn't matter. But Saturn has rings, okay? It's visible. Whatever it is, it's visible. We've been able to see it with our own telescopes. And those rings pretty much leveled out, not leveled out. Well, basically, to us, they look like they disappeared, but what's really happened is they're straightened out. Now, I've always believed that Saturn is a negative broadcasting station which has produced a lot of our negative outcomes in this history of humanity. And now that the rings have straightened up, just like a record player, you're going to get a lot more better sound and quality sound than from being on an axis or a wobble, right? So everything's breaking down now. Everything, the veil is thinning. Everything is about to be found out. And, like I said, you're going to get your Revelation 4 apocalypse horsemen. You're going to get all the fear, all the horror, if you want it, if you believe it, brothers and sisters. You've got that choice. It's not against Father in heaven to go, I don't want to go down the path of the Great Tribulation and the Armageddon and getting my head cut off and taking the mark of the beast and my children taken away. I want to know that, you're greater and more powerful than anything in this entire universe. I know that your son actually told us that we have power over all snakes, scorpions, and over all evil. Seriously, brothers and sisters, why are you trembling? It says in Revelation 2, if you want to take that the fear and doubters will not enter into the kingdom of heaven. They're going to be left without. It seems a bit harsh, doesn't it? But it's true. Fear and doubt is part of the enemy. It only comes from the enemy. Stop being fearful. The victory's already been won. All that's happening now is the good man of God, Donald J. Trump, is draining the swamp here on earth, and shit's getting done up there in the heavenly realms, and it's going to come together with a big friggin' bang, and everything's going to be friggin' awesome, brothers and sisters. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. You have no idea. But I cannot stress this enough. We're running out of time for you to make those choices. Remember what it says. There's going to come a time when the just will be just, the wicked will be wicked, the holy will be holy, and that's it. It's like the closing of a book, brothers and sisters. So please, don't get off that fence. Pick your poison. Well, pick your poison, pick your remedy. Your poison's going to be going down that negative thing, and that they make you feel that you're unworthy and that you should die for Jesus. This means your ultimate present to him, basically. Oh, if I go through this great tribulation, I'm going to get great gifts and whatever in heaven. It's BS, brothers and sisters. This whole filthy rag bullshit that they've told us for so many years, it's not. This is why Jesus says you are all gods. You know that. It says that in Psalms 82, that you are all gods because you are children of the Most High. But do we act like we're gods? No, I'm not talking about Father God, big G God. No, I'm not. I'm talking about little gods. But we're gods. We're part of Father. We're part of the source. We're part of everything that is everything. And I can't even stress enough to you how important this is, okay? Assuredly, I say to you, this generation won't pass away. Okay? So the heaven and earth will pass away. So they've received another heaven and earth. Okay, that generation. After, the chariots in the sky happened, the war happened, whatever, and Father, the King, the wrath came down and burned up the city. Okay? It was burnt up. It was burnt up. And it got made new. Okay, but the problem is it's even though it's made new, the people are lost. The people are still lost. Like I said, they even shouted their own curse out. May His blood be upon us and our children. So they're not coming back in the fold, brothers and sisters. The Great Tribulation has already happened. You have a look in the book of Revelation, okay? It talks about, counting the temple and how big the temple is and all this crap. Obviously, this was written before 70 AD, okay? Because if it was written after, John would have mentioned the destruction of the temple. Everything that the four horsemen go along very well. And I've done many videos years ago showing the connection between the four horsemen and Matthew 24 about the signs. And all of the whole thing is related. There's going to be famine and pestilence. There's going to be war. There's going to be, the red horse comes and takes peace. And we've had that. For the last 5 years, our nation has been in absolute, turmoil all around the world. All around the world. It was their last hurrah, brothers and sisters. That's why the world is so wicked right now. But we're protected. We're safe. We can sit. Don't pay attention to it. But this is the enemy's last shot at, as it says in Revelation, he knew his time was short, so his wrath. He's got to get all of his eggs in one basket and throw it as much as he can before the big event happens. And, the big event being, them marching up to the camp of the saints and, fire coming down from God out of heaven. This could be the solar flash, the ascension, the rapture, the alien beaming us up to get us out of here on their mothership arcs. That moment, whatever we call it, we know that we know. And this is why we don't need to fight. If you want to believe in a rapture, it's no problem in believing in a rapture at all. It's one of the most greatest things to think about. The problem is with the rapture thing is the whole, I want to get away. It sucks here on this earth. Poor me. That's fear. And that's like, wanting to get off earth because you think it's so crappy. To me, I'm starting to realize how beautiful and how excited I am to get my painting shoes on and create the most incredible world that I could ever imagine soon, very shortly. And just one more thing with the, let's go back to Revelation. I just want to show you something with, I don't know if I touched on this before, where it says, God himself will be with them and be their God, and he will wipe away every tear from their eye. There won't be no more death, no more grief, crying or pain, because the first things have disappeared. Here, brothers and sisters, another great example of 3D, 4D world, okay? Nasera Gracera, which is like a global jubilee to give back all the money and wealth and gold and silver that's been stolen from all of us forever. Okay, from all the things from taxes to everything that's been illegal, mortgages, everything's been illegal. We've never should have paid for electricity. The Queen of Canada, you need to look up her. I can't remember what her name is, but she's been under in the shadows, and I've been watching her for the last 6 months now. The real Queen of Canada. She's a native, and she says, when this split happens, no one will be paying for electricity anymore. House prices will go back to 1950. No one. It'll be illegal for anybody to be in poverty. Nobody will be homeless. Okay. So, like I said, a perfect example was, the Neuralink. The 3D people are going to be like, it's a mark of the beast. It's the robot takeover, blah, 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 blah. Whereas me and my peeps, we're like, okay, this is all steps in fixing what they've done to us, okay? And these med beds are truly what I believe is what this verse means. Okay, God himself will be with them and be their God, and he will wipe away every tear from their eye. There's going to be no more death, grief, crying, pain, because everything's disappeared. So, these med beds, let's see if I can bring one up. See if I can bring one up. These med beds come in three, they have 3 functions on them. Okay, let's just take this one for an example. And apparently at the moment, these med beds are all they've all been hoarded and stolen from, from the elites and stuff. And this is how they keep young. This is how they keep rejuvenating and doing all their crap. But if I are to believe what's happening now is correct, then the military have overtaken this, and we're about to be given them. And this Queen of Canada has said that this technology, this medbed technology, was actually given to us by celestial beings under the improvisation that we do not charge anything for it, and it will be open 24/7 for the people. So here it's good, okay? Here it's good because 1, it's free, 2, it's for everybody all day, all night until everybody gets healed. Now, what they say is that you hop into this machine that has 3 functions. The first one is terminal diseases. Anyone got cancer, any sickness, anything like that? A frequency, energy will scan you. No radiation, none of that bullshit. Frequency and energy. Picks up where the cancer is. Boop, 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 boop. Fixing, done. Hop out of there, you're as good as gold. Next one, 80-year-old woman hops in there. Comes out, 30-year-old woman. Okay, there'll be no more death, no more crying. Next one is the most important one. Anybody with trauma, i.e. the kids, okay? The kids, the children, the most important people in the entire world. Anybody who's had trauma their whole life, who go to sleep and just rethink and relive these memories over and over again. This removes that trauma. And this is where it says there'll be no more crying and pain because the first things have disappeared. The former things have gone away. It's going to be like a Men in Black style, babe. And you're going to forget. And you're going to be healed. You're going to be perfect. This is what is really what is being on the table here, brothers and sisters. It's not, science fiction and fantasy. This is reality, and we have to shake ourselves and wake up and get excited about this. This is the fact that you and I incarnated in this last time period to say, yep, we're going to be here. We're going to help people get through it. We're going to break through the matrix, break through the prison, break through the veil, and show people how exciting this can be, but also wake people, like grab them by their collar and violently shake them, like it says in the Bible that some people you have to gently coerce and other people you have to violently rip them out of the fire. I don't want any of you, my beautiful brothers and sisters, no matter how much you hate me and how much you say that I speak gibberish and demonic crap, whatever, I don't want any of you to go through something that's so unnecessary and so painful. And even though you're going to learn the same lesson that I learned, but I went through it the great way. So, let's have a look. How long is this video? 2 hours. All right. You know what? Like I said, I'm just going to keep going because, okay, let's go to my, let's go. Let's go through some of my TikToks. Alright, so I'm just going to play some, like I've just saved a whole heap of TikToks and stuff, and I'll just finish this video off with a whole bunch of videos it'll probably go for another hour, but anyway, yeah, like I said, I know this video is going to be super long, but I figure I may as well just get everything I need to in now because, yeah, you know me, I get sidetracked and then I research for 2-3 weeks and, don't get a move yet. So let's do this. What have I got here? UFO, here's to save us from our leaders. Yes, this is exactly what I said. The whole, motherships are really New Jerusalem. So check this one out.
Madam Chairperson, members of committee, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to speak in this conference. And I would like to congratulate the representatives of the American Congress for this important conference that will be remembered for the mankind forever. This is a beginning of a process of disclosure of the most important event for mankind lately. We wish for long to have contact with space people, and this fact has been hidden for the government for long. Why the government decided to hide it from the people? Such an important fact, because we have heard here in this conference from the militaries, retired militaries, that these beings, extraterrestrial beings, have such a capability of interfering in the nuclear weapon systems, even activating and deactivating these weapons. This explains why governments hide these from the people, because it changed the balance of power in the entire world. And they are doing a campaign to take out the credibility of this phenomena. And those people that are working here for many years, working hard with difficultness, is passing through humiliations. Is it humiliation?
That's it.
Yeah? Because they say they do not exist, UFO do not exist. In fact, what we have heard here, they exist, they are here to save us against the insanity of our leaders. Because they...
Yeah. So I know he's a little bit hard to understand, but that was the main thing. He's saying the reason the governments have lied to us about, aliens and saying they're not real is because the aliens have been the ones that have, every time we go and deploy missiles and stuff, you see them going up to the head of the missile and, what do you call it, discharging it basically. And this guy's here is like, that's why the government's covering it up, because if we knew the real reason that the extraterrestrials are actually here to save us from our leaders, it would disrupt the whole balance of power in the whole world. Okay, this is a Brazilian senator, testifies under oath that UFO exists and they're here to save us from our leaders. So, next video. I'll get through these because I know I've got quite a few videos. The point I'm trying to show you with that one, brothers and sisters, is, they're real. They're here. They're here to help us. Next one, remote viewing of the moon.
The important point, and the disturbing one, is that he saw slave labor on the moon, and the people who were directing it were these tall Nordic-looking fellows, one of whom could see Swan. And this has been reported by other remote viewers, where sometimes when they're sent to a target, whether it's a contemporaneous target or whether it's some event in the past, they're witnessed by whoever's there,
right,
as if like they're a ghost, and those people are seeing a ghost.
Yeah.
Well, this Nordic on the dark side of the moon saw Swan, and he got the distinct impression like the guy was telling him telepathically, why the fuck are you here? You don't belong here.
Right.
Get out of here. After Swan was sent, we kept sending people to the moon, remote viewers. And we distinctly got the message from these guys on the moon, do not keep sending people here. This is off limits. And we didn't listen to them. And the last viewer that we sent up there, his soul is trapped on the moon. His body is in a coma in a special medical facility run by the CIA. And his family has been given like medical compensation or whatever. They told him, like, they told his family that the guy had died in the line of duty or whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I won't watch all the videos, but this resonates with me so hard. Like, this is why I have a friend that always shows me pictures of the moon and stuff like this, and I had to stop, opening these pictures and stuff, because I knew from a long time ago that there's something about the moon, when I really understood that it had a lot to do with the Babylonian, worship system. And then, in the last year or so, I've really discovered that the moon plays a huge importance in the soul trap reincarnation cycle that we go through here. So that's that one. I'm just showing you these to give you, to show you that when I talk about these things, I ain't the only one. There's very credible people that believe these things too. Okay, like I said, many will say in that day, Lord, Lord, did we not do all these things in your name? And Lord equals Baal. So that could be the reason why he says that.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. You have to really pull together all of your strength, because there is an earth split coming. There is going to be some type of geomagnetic or some type of catastrophe is incoming, and only the chosen ones, truly the treasures, will make it. They will be the ones who will survive. There's leaked information from alleged Pentagon employees who are saying that there is a split coming, and also the aliens, the Anunnaki preferably, are coming, and they are going to take their people back. Where that is, we don't know, but they are coming and they're gonna take them. Also, I must tell you that there is a rapture coming. Well, it's pretty obvious, right? Also, we will keep on having wars until our planet is destroyed. Israel will persevere, and all of the bad people will keep on being in power, and we'll keep on being separated, and hate is winning, looks like, right? Dear Trasers, those are some of the narratives that are currently circulating all over social media. Very dark and negative and low vibrational narratives filled with fear that carry the purpose to put you in a state of fear.
Exactly. That's all they're there for, brothers and sisters. The narrative, the script, the Armageddon, the Great Tribulation that they use every year, every generation, brothers and sisters. Take, like I was talking about my parents' Seventh-day Adventist beliefs. That whole church came out of what was called the Great Disappointment. And back in 1844 or 1830, for a couple of years before that, like I'm telling you, all the churches united. They were like, yes, Jesus is coming back on like the 10th of October, 1844. They had it all. It was like the Feast of Trumpets, all that Jewish traditional feast day bullshit, right? They had people selling their homes. They had everybody just on board with this. It's in every generation. They're smart. They use the book of Revelation for every generation. I'm telling you. They're not silly. It's not their first time round here. All right, next one. Oh, rainbow portals. This one's pretty cool.
Y'all, our world is going through some changes right now, and I don't even know how to explain some of these things. So I'm going to do what I do best, and I'm going to show you guys. Now, this picture was taken out in Canada, y'all, the other day. Check this out. Here goes another angle of this thing being seen in the skies of Canada, y'all.
Now, I know that one doesn't look real, but I know for a fact it is because I've actually seen that photo from a few different angles and stuff like that.
So the wildfires. Now take a look at this one over here. This thing is apparently using cloaking technology, because that's exactly what it looks like. Because how do you explain what is going on here, y'all? The whole sky is splitting, and then the different variation of these colors. This is crazy. Have you guys ever seen the sun do something like this before? Didn't they say CERN was opening up portals? And don't we know the sun to be a portal, y'all? Like, doesn't that look like a portal that's opening from the sun? It looks everywhere, y'all. This right here is in Kansas. So apparently everywhere around the world is experiencing this blue, hazy, gray sky. Some crazy severe. They're seeing it, y'all. Everyone is seeing it. What is happening here? There's some it looks like some type of planet of it. That's why, you know, everything is tearing apart. And this is the
Okay. Next one. You really think they're God's people? Anyway, you get the drift. They are literally running the world. The newspapers, the TVs, the radio stations, the magazines. They're not of our Father, brothers and sisters. They're not. Oh. So that video got banned. Alright, so next page. Start at the bottom. Oh, I think I'll skip those crystal malls. Because they're pretty creepy, actually. No, I will. I'll bring it up because there's this phenomena, and the only reason I've saved a couple of videos is because my daughter's going through this thing that she cannot explain to me. She's tried to explain it for the last couple of years, and she's like, oh, it's happening right now. I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, it's so hard to explain, and it's really weird. And then I showed her, apparently there's this thing called, when people sleep, they go to this place like a mall, and it's like known as the Crystal Mall. I'll just show you a video. And apparently like millions of people go to this place. It's kind of like what you'd call a back room.
Froze in their tracks. Can't find the exit. I can't find it.
No, because I don't know what just showed up on my For You page at 9:20 in the morning when I didn't sleep last night. I'm a local. This is the Crystal Mall in Waterford, Connecticut. I've been going to this mall since the 90s. My biological mother worked at the Fredericks of Hollywood in this mall. I can map the whole. In the dream, Charlie's still like for years. It's
Okay,
to the point
not that one. Let's go a different one.
There are thousands of people who visit the same exact dream world every single night in their sleep, and this appears to be a growing phenomenon affecting more and more people, and it is called the mall world. But before you can answer whether or not you have been there, you need to look at this next image. The name is misleading because not all areas of this dream world are actually a mall, and when I first went down this rabbit hole, I was focused on the other things like the water park, as I was actually making a map of this area before I realized other people were having the same exact dream, until I stumbled on this photo.
Now, I am so thankful that I don't have weird dreams like this, but I thought I might bring this up because there's got to be one of you guys out there that probably experiences this. And please let me know, because out of all the rabbit holes I've ever gone down my whole life, when I went into the back rooms rabbit hole, I was like, nah, can't do that, because I'm so sensitive, like, to what I watch and see over the day, because I literally unload it at night in my dreams. It's crazy scary sometimes. But, yeah, but this is a thing. And the reason I want to know, because I know it's a thing, because there's literally the same millions of people around the world, if this is true, then this absolutely proves that we're in a simulated matrix computer program. Because, you know, and like I was saying to you earlier in the thing, you know, that they found that those autistic kids at nighttime, they dream and they go to a place called the Hill. They all gather there together. So, yeah, this just proves, you know, that we are in that matrix. It's a great rabbit hole to go down to, if you dare. Just another example. It's pretty weird.
I just need you guys to see what I am experiencing at this very moment. I am driving back to LA from Vegas, and I always stop at this little outlet strip mall just to kind of walk around, maybe find a good deal. I pull over, and I notice that there's no cars in the parking lot. I look it up, make sure that it's open. It says it's open. I walk inside, and this is what I am seeing. Just nothing. Just vacant. Everything is empty. This fountain has all over here. I basically walked around the entire mall just because. Why is the restroom this far back? Onto something. They're clean at least. I have watched one too many scary movies in my life. But as I was walking through more, there was a Bath and Body Works store that was open, and then a Michael Kors. But I'm like, there's no way that those are the only two stores that's keeping this place.
Yeah, so it's pretty trippy, but I won't bore you with the rest of those ones. Yeah, here we go. Has anyone seen that movie, World Left Behind? Check this out. We found a parking lot of Teslas and Cybertrucks all parked, and they crashed into it. It's like,
Trunk is open. Guys, look at all these Cybertrucks.
how friggin' weird and creepy. But even that looks like an abandoned, like, obviously this is an abandoned
No one is in that car.
park.
Nobody walked over here.
Oh, look.
Wait. There's nobody in these. What the heck? That car just sped off. There's no one in it. Oh.
So that's friggin' creepy. Okay, let's get to some more important one. Oh, what's this one?
So now you're telling me that a council known as the Galactic Federation has been monitoring our planet since the beginning. They apparently were going to make themselves known in 2027, but due to everything that's been going on Earth, they've moved it up to 2025. They are on their third level of presenting themselves. First, starting with the orbs last year, which a lot of people have seen. The second phase, their motherships, their modes of transportation, have been all around the entire world, cloaked, multiple places that I've seen the videos. Now, once again, this is allegedly, but the third phase is the guy who was sleeping in the egg. The egg, that the video that just came out recently. He was resting there, so he's basically their go-to guy. So there is apparently a council of 26, and there are the council of 5, which will be making their human presence known very soon to help us basically get through every bit of craziness that's been happening in our world right now. Now, obviously, anything I say is for entertainment.
Yes, anything I say is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, let's go. Next one. All right.
But I miss you in the morning when I see the sun.
There she is.
When will this planet come back?
Oh yeah, I just want you to take note that
It's
this is
here.
actually an old
It's already in
video.
the area.
Oh, yes. Right now it's in
Okay.
conjunction. It is behind the sun. It's coming up. It came up in the direction towards the sun's, say, 7:30 position.
Okay.
Now, when it comes out from behind, it'll be around the 1:30 position. And
Will we be able to see it then?
Yeah. And when we see it, if you're not prepared, I mean, frankly, when we do see it, people are going to be standing out in the street. They're going to be pointing up at the sky.
You'll be able to see it like that?
Oh, yeah. You're going to see it. It's a melon.
We're going to be able to see it like that, just looking up the sky and pointing.
Melancholia scenario. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger because this thing is going to come around from behind the sun and cross over our orbit above us and ahead of us. And, you know, there's a gentleman, Bob Dean, government whistleblower. He's one of my heroes. I mean, I just love this guy.
Yeah, good guy.
And I think in 2008 on Project Camelot, he made a prediction. He said, according to my sources, it is going to, when we are going to be on the same side of the sun as the Planet X system when it goes into its aphelion leg. That's when it's going back south.
Okay.
And that is when it's really going to be jamming, you know.
And jamming meaning doing
fast.
things to us?
To the sun, to us. First off, let me just explain the Planet X system.
Okay.
Nemesis is the dark star, all right? And it hasn't been visible for a very long time to the naked eye because it's shrouded in iron oxide dust.
Okay.
This is from its creation.
And where would that be now, that binary star?
That binary star is beyond the orbit of Jupiter behind our sun.
And that's why we can't see it.
We can't see it. First off, let me just explain the Planet X system.
Okay.
Yes. It's a long period elliptical orbit. It's inclined to, here's the plane of our solar system, all right? And it's inclined. And it goes up and down in 3,600 lunar. That's right. It doesn't go around like we do. So it comes up and down like a comet.
Okay.
It's a comet-like orbit, and it's very long. What happened was in early 90s, a gentleman by the name of Robert Harrington, he was an astronomer for the U.S. Naval Observatory in Washington. He was the chief astronomer. He wrote a brilliant paper on the location of Planet X. All right. Not only did he do that, he backed it up by having a telescope specially constructed sent to an observatory owned by our government in New Zealand. Because at that time it was in the southern skies.
Just to look for this planet.
Yes. And what happened was all of the image plates that came off that telescope were sent to NASA, disappeared. Never.
Funny that always happens. But there you go, brothers and sisters. I mean, this has been talked about for so long. Here's a good one. Good old Scooby-Doo.
Wake up and listen.
Whispering Nibiru is creepy times 10. It gets creepier. I googled it and found a lot. Namely this. Nibiru is a planet listed in the writings of Zachariah Sitchin, particularly his book The 12th Planet. According to Sitchin's interpretation of Babylonian religious texts, a giant planet called Nibiru passes by Earth every 3,600 years and allows its sentient inhabitants to interact with humanity.
Don't that like a reptilian?
Which Sitchin identified with the Anunnaki of Sumerian myth, would become humanity's first gods. My favorite internet encyclopedia says there's supposed to be a collision. The Nibiru collision is a disastrous encounter between the Earth and a large...
There's those two celestial bodies colliding again. Remember we talked about that in the 3 Days of Darkness prophecy and in the Hopi prophecy. The twin brothers will collide.
Planetary object. Believers in this doomsday event usually refer to this object as Planet X or Nibiru.
The bot's gonna say it's just a cartoon, but the real gonna.
Okay, what do we got next? It's just another.
Look, the sun's over this way. It's like setting over this way. What the fuck is that? Okay? Seriously.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like zoom through these. I just want you to realize that it's everywhere.
What the fuck? I had to get away from the light. Oh shit.
That could be an alien! I don't, you move your butt!
Bruh. That's weird as fuck.
I saw something way more different, you know? No, that could be a shooting star!
Oh, look in the sky.
They're making their presence known, brothers and sisters. Alright, let's keep going. I mean, come on now. It literally does look like a planet though, doesn't it? It looks like, what would they call it? Is it Mars that looks like that? Red Kachina, baby. Alright, let's go. Oh, these are just pictures. Yeah. It's just pictures, lots of pictures. I won't worry about that. A moon portal.
So I want you to take
This
a
is
look
weird.
at this. Look at this in the sky right here. It is June 9th, June 8th, and I'm looking at this thing next to the moon. And what does that look like? It is either a planet or a UFO. It is very hard to tell. Look at that. Right there next to the moon. I think I'm tripping. All right, check this out. Check this out. I'm gonna zoom in. I'm zooming in. And what is that?
Look at that.
It's
I
down
mean,
dead center in the moon.
it's all starting to fall apart, brothers and sisters. The veil
Out.
is thinning. Oh yeah, check this out. I think I've got another one of that. Oh, Biden robot. Did you see the post that Trump dropped the other day where he says Biden was executed in 2020 and a robot has been playing him for the last 4 years? Like, Trump posted this on his thing. So when you look at it, it's like, oh my goodness, yes, he does walk exactly like, oh my goodness. Oh, it makes so much sense now. It was a damn good robot though, considering it had a lot of flaws, but it's all a show, brothers and sisters, it's all a show. Trump said many times, "Do you like the movie? You like the movie?"
No, that's something on the interstate.
Coming out of it.
What the hell is
Don't
that?
you dare say, "Oh, it's SpaceX."
There's a freaking smoke ring around it.
What is that? I don't know.
Freaking UFO. Look at that thing.
What is that?
Yeah. I suppose a lot of you guys probably can't see these because you're watching on your phone, but
In a stunning underwater discovery, marine archaeologists claim to have found a 10,000-year-old playground at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean.
200 miles off
As you
Hawaii's
do.
coast, a team from the Oceanic Exploration Institute has uncovered what they're calling a prehistoric playground, submerged 3,000 feet below the Pacific's surface.
We've identified smooth stone ramps like slides.
Advanced sonar and a deep-sea submarine mapping mission. At the ocean floor, they found stone structures, slides, circular platforms, and carved seats.
Atlantis, baby. This is probably where I played on the playground.
What appears to be a staircase straight from a science fiction novel, arranged in a pattern that suggests a play area, dating back roughly 10,000 years to the end of the Ice Age.
Carbon dating of nearby coral and sediment places this at 8,000 BCE.
This find raises big questions. Who built this playground? How did kids play here so long ago?
So that's cool.
This world is completely offset compared to our way of thinking. It really seems like science fiction. When we watch science fiction movies nowadays, we can find that the same themes are being explored. In Egyptian Gnostic texts, we find a recurrent main character. She is called Sophia. And this Sophia will become Tiamat, Tiamata from the Sumerian text. Tiamata can be decomposed in Ti, Amat, and Ta. The latter is not always added. In very concrete terms, it means Lady of Life. Amma is lady, and Ti is life. It is interesting to see that, right off, we get that she is a supreme goddess. Then we can actually find her in different mythologies. Tiamat is the archetype of the mother goddess, and as Sophia's spokesperson, is all-powerful. And according to the Sumerian text, she is going to create herself a lineage of females that we call Amashatum. This could be translated to the lizard mothers. In the Sumerian text, I think it's important to note that the Sophia energy is going to create a new being named An.
Here we go.
You should know that the An particle also means the sky.
Sky.
That character is then going to create a people we find in Sumerian text. It is important to note that gods were created in artificial matrices. An creates Enki, and then Enki creates another son, who will become An's spokesperson for his agenda. His name is Enlil, and he will ceaselessly be against Enki in order to impede him and his knowledge from getting out to the humans.
Yeah, anyway. Let's have a look. What's the next one?
Y'all, I cannot make this up. This was literally in the sky, and it's crazy because I literally just seen a video on this, and it was like, the world will present itself to those who are ready to see it. And look, this is not the sun. The sun was behind me and the moon was above me. So what is this? Like, I don't even know what to say.
Getting exciting. All right, last page. Ah, now this is, I was so excited to see this one because I, as you guys would know, have had this in my heart and spirit for so many years. Every time this Aquarius comes around, and me being Aquarian, I really feel strongly with this association with this parable rather. So, you know, when the disciples asked Jesus, where are we going to have your Passover dinner? And Jesus is like, go into the city. There'll be a man standing there with a pitcher of water. When you see him, go into his house. Then go up to the upper room in the mansion, and it's going to be furnished, ready to go. Okay, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is literally the age of Aquarius, because Aquarius symbol is a man holding a pitcher of water. And funny enough, age of Aquarius began on the 19th of November 2024, and which is very amazing. That's a week after Trump was elected as president. So listen to this.
Jesus Christ makes a lot of statements interesting that we'll cover. But he said, when you see the man carrying the pitcher of water, makes a lot of statements interesting that we'll cover. But he said, when you see the man carrying the pitcher of water, go into the house, go to the upper room. That's a prophecy of the age of Aquarius.
Hang on. I don't know why it's so quiet. I'll try and bring my microphone up to the thing.
A lot of statements interesting that we'll cover. But he said, when you see the man carrying the pitcher of water, go into the house, go to the upper room. That's a prophecy of the age of Aquarius. Well, we're not getting anything here, Frank, with these pens. A prophecy of the age of Aquarius, okay, which is the man carrying the pitcher of water. Ah, you say, well, I don't know if he meant Aquarius. Oh, okay, maybe you don't. But do you know what a house is? And when you talk about the zodiac, a house is a sign of the zodiac, okay? That's of the solar zodiac, okay? A mansion is a part of the lunar zodiac. That's the lunar zodiac. And there are about 2.5 mansions in each house. And there's star clusters, so there can be numbers of lunar mansions in each solar house. Come back here. I want to show you something very interesting. Jesus Christ made this statement. And I'll leave this with you. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. And then on top of the fact that he said, when you see the man carrying the pitcher of water, maybe we better look. Jesus Christ wasn't an astrologer. He wasn't a fortune teller for sure. He was the Son of God. But it's he telling you, look, my friends, you are living on a planet, and this planet is in the middle of the zodiacal belt, and you are part of it. And everything interacts in a cosmic law with one another. My friend, if you'll take a look at this and take another second look at the origin of the zodiac and those stars and how they're named, you'll find that you're a part of it, and they there are a part of the Bible, and the Bible characters are being acted out in the stars. It's written in the stars. Look up your redemption draweth high or nigh, whatever you want to call it.
Look up your redemption draweth nigh. It's written in the skies. Oh, brothers and sisters. Yeah, it's like, there's so many examples of that. You know, Jesus was the age of Pisces. Okay, that's why he talks about fish so much. And prior to that was the age of Aries. Okay, all about the sacrifice. And prior to that was the age of Taurus. Okay, that's when all the, you know, the golden calf, the worshipping of the golden calf and all that crap. Brothers and sisters, we have to open our mind and realise, yes, it is very based on astrological. That's why they demonized it. Duh. It's like, that's what they do with everything. That's what they do with crystals. You know, I heard yesterday that crystals are actually parts of angelical beings that were left here to help us remember. You know, no wonder they demonize it and tell Christians, stay away from the crystals. And you know what a crystal is? It is literally the only thing in the world that is not a liquid nor a solid. It's because it vibrates at such a high frequency. That's how it makes its shape. That's friggin' unreal. And we are crystal. We have a crystalline structure in us. And this is why, you know, when you look at Wi-Fi, you know, we trust Wi-Fi to do everything wirelessly, but yet we don't trust ourselves to have these incredible powers that have been stolen from us. So, you know, everything is just...
The moon is a soul trap that makes you reincarnate. We live in a soul system, not a solar system.
No one's trying to trap your soul. Let me explain. The
The moon does in fact trap your soul, and yes, it does reincarnate you, but it's not how you think it works. Let me break this down for you. You have to understand that you are a physical being and you have an astral body. Astral body is the body you use when you dream and when you imagine. Imagination is a dimension. There are 7 layers to the astral plane, which are the 7 planets. Moon at the bottom, Saturn at the top, and the sun in the middle. When you die, you are stripped of your physical body, left with thought and emotion inside the astral plane, imagination. Imagination is your biggest power when you die. If you die with your mind and emotions still attached to addiction, sex, lust, and the material things of the world, then you will manifest in the lower astral plane, where low vibrational thoughts and imaginations take place, which is governed by the moon. Most souls in this physical world are attached to physical pleasure, and when they die, they manifest in the moon on the lower astral plane because they still desire the physical plane. When you are there and you can't fulfill your physical desire, you will reincarnate yourself.
I just want to stop there. Notice Jesus says, when you go, don't take anything with you. Don't just the sandals on your feet and the clothes on your back. Don't even take a script or a wallet or anything. This is what he's talking about, brothers and sisters, because the kingdom of heaven is within you. You can't go find it anywhere else. Happiness you can't find anywhere else until you love yourself. That's actually a command, is to love ourselves and love each other like we love ourselves. So how can you love others if you don't love yourself? God first, Father first, source first, but then you have to love yourself next. And when you know what you are, you know that God is part of you and in you and through you, then start damn well loving yourself. Like you are a powerful, valued, loved creation, co-partnership with us all, okay?
In order to ascend to the higher astral planes, we must detach from the external world before we die. If your soul is detached from the world, then you will merge with the sun. Hence why Jesus says, you can only reach the Father if you go through me. Jesus is...
Damn, girl. I just heard that for the first time. Now that is a great metaphor. You can only get to the Father, the source, through the Son. And this is why it says, again, let's go to the good old Malachi 4. This is what it says. But unto you that fear my name shall the what? Son, S-U-N, of righteousness arise with healing in his wings. Boom. Drop the mic. Drop the mic. Boom. Drop the mic. Yeah.
The sun. And when you die, your light body will attach to one of the planets depending on your level of awareness. The moon is not a soul trap. It's not reincarnating you. You get yourself there by not preparing for death.
Yes. It's choice. It's always a choice, brothers and sisters. We're just now being told this. Choose wisely.
World War III has already begun, claims Russian state TV.
And this is from that same...
I'm not going to play all this because I don't want to bring this into my life, but Russian state TV claims that World War III has already begun, and apparently this, I forget what his name is, but whatever he's saying, you're crazy, we're already in World War III. And the reason I just wanted to show that is because this is a perfect example of everything's getting ready for the world you're choosing, 3D or 4D at the moment. So, yes, Christians can say, but there is World War III happening right now, and there is this and there is that. Yeah, I know, because it's all been prepared for what you believe and what you're about to go through. I got a couple more before I finish up. I know this is extremely...
Inexplainable, mysterious phenomenon appears in Japan that is so bright. Could this be a sign of some sort? The people around the world are capturing different types of unknown in the sky, whether this is the end sign of the world or something else. Share your thoughts, Jason here. Inexplainable, mysterious phenomenon appears in Japan that is so bright. Could this be a sign of some sort? The people around the world are capturing different types of unknown.
It's just so many cool things. All right, so that's everything that I wanted to talk about. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I wanted to go over before I finish up? My goodness, we're probably 3 hours or 10 more minutes until 3 hours. Like I said, brothers and sisters, I'll finish up with this, is that I think this Trump parade is actually going to be the big event, brothers and sisters. I think Trump's using this parade on his birthday, on the 250th anniversary, the little season of the army. Oh my goodness, of the army, I didn't even realise that. I think he's using this as a way to calm the public and keep the peace by people thinking, oh yes, it's a military parade, no stress, let's go and enjoy the military parade. To be honest, if I was you folk, I would not attend this military parade, because I think it is literally an excuse to get the military in, and the what do you call it? They need to shut the shit show down that's going on in LA, okay? And I think this is how they're going to do it. They're going to use this as a peaceful way of thinking, we're going to have a lovely parade. That's the other thing that I wanted to add to my June 14, 15 absolutely amazing list, is the fact that not only is this parade happening, but from then, for one whole year, Trump's got a huge celebration thing going. For 1 year, brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, we're in the year of the Jubilee. The Pope has passed, the end of religious control. The Queen has passed, the end of the monarchy. The Magna Carta that ends all tyrannical governmentship. Oh man, the red sun that's literally planted itself now there for good. It's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. We're so close to this crossroad, it's not even funny. Just get on the right side. Please, just get on the right side. It's not even hard to do. Just the first week or so, I had to go through it, okay? The first week or so, you have to talk to yourself. Every time a negative thought comes in, every time whatever, you say, no, thank you, mind. Because remember this, okay? This helps a lot. Remember, your brain is responsible for your perception of what you see. Remember that. And your brain is encased in darkness. So your brain relies on the senses, the 5 senses that you have, to bring in information so that it can put a projection onto the back of your retinas, and it happens at real-time lightning rendering speed. But the reality is, brothers and sisters, this is why he says, when you want to talk to the Father, go into a room, shut the door, okay? That means go into yourself. Just like Jesus said, you can't look for heaven anywhere around you. You got to go within yourself. So it's about going within yourself and really releasing the trauma, brothers and sisters, because all trauma is you giving whatever happened to you power over you. Okay? Time to release the trauma. Do whatever it is that you need to do. Go get some regression therapy, whatever it is. Have someone pray over you. Whatever you need to do, just release it. Because now's the time to live in life, light, harmony, peace, all the good high vibrations. Okay, smile all the time at the strangers. Just live as you are a candle and a representation for God and everything that He means. Okay, and I'm telling you, we're going to be able to meet very, very soon and give each other huge hugs and high fives and have a good old laugh about this. But the celebration, boys and girls, is going to be out of this world. Literally. I so hope we get beamed up. I saw how we get beamed up on these ships. This is going to be mad. All right. I love you, brothers and sisters. I will leave you with my incredibly long video, but hopefully you can listen to it in parts or all the things. So I don't know if I'll see you between now and the new world, but if we're still here and the 17th, then we keep on looking. You know, the next thing I suppose we can have a look for is Independence Day, which would be a true alien invasion day, wouldn't it? But anyway, let's just get excited about this coming couple of days and see what happens. I love you so very much. I pray that Father Source blesses you. I pray that his Son, Yeshua Jesus Christ, blesses you. And I pray that your whole lives are just turned around in the most positive way, and that you can really see the beauty in life and stop to smell the roses, even if they are programmed computer chip programs. Who gives a shit? Enjoy what is given to you. Enjoy this experiment. It's nearly over. The test is we nearly get to hand it into the teacher and throw our hats in the air and woo, we're done, let's go on the schoolies, woo. Okay. I'm just super excited, but I should go because it's like, my goodness, I haven't even had breakfast yet. All right, I love you so much. God bless you. Yeshua bless you. Abundance and blessing, love and light to you all. Okay, love you. Bye.